Welcome to my channel. My name is Adina. In this video, I am going to bring up a chart and go through, I'm going to demonstrate some energy that we will be moving through. Come July 2023, we are really entering some really transformational times, and we will be going through a lot of intense energy. And so I really want to walk through it all with you, bring it to your awareness, just to hopefully help guide you through these intense times. We have a lot of energetic shifts taking place, especially in July. We have the nodes leaving Taurus and Scorpio. So we have this finalizing of energy in the Taurus and Scorpio areas of our life, which is money, finances, and all of that stuff we've kind of been moving through in the world. There's going to be more of a finalizing of that and a more of an understanding the direction that they really want to take us in when it has to do with our money, our financial systems, and all of that stuff, our food supply and housing. So there's a wrapping up of that area, and the nodes shift into Aries and Libra in July. We also have Venus stationing retrograde in Leo. And we have that really tight T-square between Pluto and the nodes come exact. And we have a lot of other stuff happening. So I want to go through all of this energy with you to hopefully bring this all to your awareness, which can help kind of guide you through these murky times. And so really we're entering a time of transformation. I've talked a lot in my previous videos about how when the nodes shift into Aries and Libra, we will be the North Node in Aries, generally speaking, represents the self. So I truly believe and feel like we will be all moving through this self-discovery journey, which is why I'm kind of shifting and changing my channel to focus more on self-development and healing and awakening and spirituality, because it's going to be needed. It's going to be a direction that a lot of people are going to be taking moving forward. So that's why I'm kind of changing the channel and not changing the channel, but implementing some new things to help guide you all through. We're all on this journey together. So if I can help guide you through, even stuff I've been through myself, through my own personal experiences, I really want to do that. It's my purpose to help you all. So that's why I'm doing this, but that's why I'm changing the direction changing the direction of the channel, because it's something that's going to be heightened very, very soon. It's an energy we will be moving through when Pluto really forms that. I mean, we've been in that Pluto T-square for a little while now, but it comes exact in July. And so this is where we really feel the intensity of it, where it's a breaking point. It's really in our face as to what needs to change, what needs to be let go of. And that's coinciding with a lot of other energy as well. So there's a lot of stuff around self-identity, self-expression, really getting to know yourself, taking this journey, taking this self-development journey or self-discovery journey, or really diving into spirituality and figuring out who you are. We're really entering these times. So I want to go through all this energy with you, and hopefully you find this helpful. So I'm going to pull up the charts and we can get right into it. So here's the chart. And as you can see right here, I have July 21st. And so this is happening really exact around July 21st, July 22nd, but we will feel this a few days before and a few days after. I chose this chart because this is the one I really felt intuitively to do, because we have a lot of planets at 29 degrees. We've got Venus at 28 degrees, getting ready to station retrograde. So this is around the time where it will really feel intense. See this T-square? But what we also have here with the sun is a grand cross or a grand square. And so when the sun is at 29 degrees of Cancer, it forms this grand cross. And so at this moment, for about a day, we really have this intense energy, July 21st to 22nd, before the sun moves into Leo. We have this really intense energy of crisis, conflict. This can be a breaking point. This can be a blockage or a stop to something. There's something here that really requires your attention to release and let go of something. And because the nodes are involved, this really has to do with your direction, your soul's experience in this lifetime. This really has to do with your journey, the journey that you want to take in this lifetime. And so there is a need here to give, there's a need to let go, there's a need to release. And there's even this energy of, if it's fought, if you are not really, if you're fighting it, there can be a tower moment. And the tower moment in tarot, there's a tower card, and that's really when everything kind of crumbles down before transformation. You can almost kind of stop, or not stop, but what's the word I'm looking for? Miss the tower moment if you just kind of move into it smoothly, where you are listening to your intuition, you are having an understanding intuitively what needs to be released and let go of, and you're doing so. You're doing the work. You choose to do the work, and that's how we can really kind of miss the tower moments in a sense. However, if we choose to ignore it and we choose to continue in that direction, that's when we can experience the tower moment. Now, let's point out a few other things going on in this chart, because we also have here Mars at 7 degrees and Saturn retrograde at 6. So at the same time, so we will have a Saturn-Mars opposition. We have both the malefic planets opposing each other. This can really bring up conflict. And because Saturn is in Pisces and we're moving through this energy of boundaries, responsibilities, commitments, really developing, Saturn in Pisces can already be an energy where the lines are very blurred. We have the planet of boundaries and the sign that is boundaryless. You've probably heard me say that time and time again. And so when it comes to personal boundaries, and depending on where you have Pisces in your chart, it will depend how this shows up, but this is where, this energy can be a real overstepping of boundaries, disrespect. This can be conflict, aggression. We really want to watch at this time. And because we have the moon here in Virgo with Mars not that far away, there can be a lot of heightened emotions. There can be a lot of heightened feelings and anger, impulsiveness, aggression. So this is a time period where we do want to watch for that, not just with ourselves, but also with others. Now, going back to this square here with the sun, this can also be a crisis of identity. So we are already kind of seeing that in the world. If we really look at the world and we can see what's going on, there is this crisis of self-identity. And so this is something that we will still move through and really maybe even see the peak of at this time, more people kind of going through this crisis of self-identity. But this can also show up as a crisis of, now I know that who I am now is no longer in alignment with me. Who I am now is no longer in alignment with me, and it's time for me to change. It's time for me to choose my highest timeline. It's time for me to really do the work and make the shift and make the change. And that is what this energy really represents, is having that other understanding that if this is in alignment with you and this resonates with you and you're moving through something right now, that's how this can really show up, is finally just having the understanding that you can't continue down this path no longer. There's something that needs to shift and change. And with that Mars opposing Saturn, that is something that can be really just ripped away, taken away, where it's just gone, because Mars can sever things. So that is another energy that we really want to be aware of. And then with Saturn having to do with our commitments and responsibilities, this can show up as having to do something. This can really show up because oppositions is an energy that requires balance. And this can show up as really being forced to do something that you don't want to do, or that you didn't intend on doing. even having to do something or someone trying to push something on you that's not in alignment with you in a sense. So it is something we really want to be careful of at this time, especially with our boundaries. And remember, this is a day before Venus stations retrograde. So it's almost like too that what's going on here, there's going to be a lot of reflection on because like the next day Venus stations retrograde, and it's almost like the decisions that are kind of made now, and because the sun is ruling Venus right now, because Venus is in the sign that is ruled by the sun. The sun rules Leo and Venus is in Leo. So this sun opposition to Pluto is really having a conversation with Venus as well. Venus is involved in this. And so it's almost like the decisions that are made now, or the realization or the understanding that you have at this point, there's going to be a reflection period when Venus stations retrograde and between her retrograde period, which is, I believe it's, oh gosh, there's so many dates. There's Saturn. And I think that Venus is retrograde till the beginning of October, because I know Saturn's till November 4th. I'm pretty sure Venus is October, or maybe she's in Leo till October and retrograde till September. Oh gosh, I can't remember, but I know that she's in Leo until October. But this is where this with Venus moving back and forth, this is a reflection and a reworking of that energy. And so it's almost like whatever's going on here, there's a rethinking and reevaluating all those decisions, all those choices, a contemplation of what's going on, what needs to be changed. All for transformation, because we have the Pluto energy and we have the nodes, which is the direction that we're moving into. So there's a lot going on around transformation and a real change in direction and journey, which is a lot of intense energy. And that's why I know I already said, but that's why I'm really going to be putting a lot of videos up to help guide through a lot of this energy, because it's not even just going to be spiritually, but it's almost like I feel intuitively a lot of people are going to be going through a lot of relationship stuff, a lot of healing, a lot of realizing deep inner wounds and traumas, and really starting to do the work and starting that self-development. I feel like we're kind of going to be moving into this phase, not a phase, but a time. And I mean, it's amazing to do the work. It's amazing to really start healing yourself and do the work and do the self-development and self-discovery and learn all about that stuff and heal your inner wounds and really do the work on yourself. It's not easy all the time, but it's definitely needed if you want to have like a happy, loving life and feel happy, whole, and complete, and not be codependent or not have issues with your self-worth and your values and your self-love and how you love yourself and your own personal boundaries. And this is stuff I've gone through personally. And I think we're always healing. We're always healing and we're always moving through this stuff. So I think it's amazing to always kind of be on this journey. But this energy is really going to be throwing a lot of people right into that, because we also have Venus here having that forming that in conjunction to Pluto and in conjunction to Neptune. So where I said, Venus is not a key player, but she very much is in this energy. Even though she's not in that T square, she's still having the conversation with planets that are in the T square. And she's ruled by the sun, which the sun is opposing Pluto. And so this really has to do with what you need, what you desire, what you require in your partners, and realizing where you've even been selling yourself short, where you haven't had those healthy boundaries, where you haven't been loving yourself and putting yourself first. There's going to be a huge realization of that, and then a huge reflecting period. We're going within and figuring out, how do I take these next steps? How do I start this journey for myself? Where do I start? That's kind of what we're coming into, is this energy of having that understanding. Now, with the in conjunction to Neptune, this is where we can have that confusion element kind of come in, where we're really confused in the direction or confused confused about what we are thinking and feeling and needing, and confused about the direction to really take. So it's something that we do want to be careful at this time. But the one beautiful thing with Neptune in this chart is that Neptune is forming a sextile to Pluto and a trine to the sun. And what I really get from this is that there is a really easy flowing energy coming in for intuition. So if you really listen to your intuition at this time, listen to what you're feeling intuitively. What we have to be careful of with this is over idealizing situations, illusion, and deception and escapism. That can be very easy around this time period is escapism. So we want to make sure that we are not pushing things under the rug. Remember how I kind of brought up that energy of there is going to be things coming up in conflict or um things coming up just in your face, a point of crisis that you have to kind of look at and make those decisions. And if not, you get that tower moment. And this is one of those elements as well, where there can be, if you choose to take that route of escapism and not seeing things for what they are and just ignoring them, which with that Neptune trine to the sun, it can be easy, but it also can be easy for that intuitive aspect of it. And so if you're listening to your intuition at this time for guidance, it can be very, very, very helpful. And then with that sextile to Pluto, that's where it brings in that opportunity for transformation. That where if you're listening to your intuition and you're really following your gut and you're following that intuitive compass that you have and believing in yourself, that's where the transformation comes because sextiles bring in opportunities. And so I really wanted to point that out as well, that we do have an energy that can be quite difficult. We want to make sure we are not ignoring and escaping, that we are kind of handling it to avoid that tower moment. Another interesting aspect that we have here is Mercury. We have Mercury here at 19 degrees forming a trine to Chiron, and this really opens up this element of healing. So again, that we have and the sun and Mercury is in Leo, which is ruled by the sun. And so again, Mercury is kind of a player in this, right? Because the sun is opposing Pluto. So there's all of this energy here for transformation. Mercury can be your mind, your mindset, your intuitive messages, and healing. And so there really is this energy here where if you choose to take the direction and really go within and you choose to listen to your intuition, I mean, there's a lot here that can show choices for healing, choices for transformation. But it's not going to be easy. You have to be willing to do the work. You have to be willing to commit yourself. We have Saturn opposing Mars. So you have to be willing to do the work in and commit yourself. And the interesting thing is too, is this is because Saturn's like retrograde. So it's like a realization of going within with these commitments to yourself and these boundaries and where you've been in lack. It's just really interesting how Saturn's retrograde. And this is just what I feel intuitively with this chart. Other astrologers may point out other stuff, but I really use my intuition and focus a lot of the energy that I work with on self-development and giving you guys guidance for that and what I see in those aspects. But that's a lot of what is here. But we have this beautiful healing kind of energy with Chiron and Mercury forming that trine. And then eventually we're going to have the North Node conjunct Chiron, and that's going to be massive. And I believe I talked about that in the video that I posted about the nodes in Aries and Libra, but we will eventually have the North Node hit Chiron, and that's going to be a major point of healing. That's going to be really stepping into who you are and discovering your personal power. And I mean, we're on this journey till January. I believe the nodes shift January 2025. So a year and a half, we're moving through this entire self-discovery journey and stepping into and discovering our true power and purpose in this lifetime. So it's exciting where it's not always going to be the easiest energy, but it's transformational. And I heard actually a quote the other day. Um, this guy that I watch on YouTube, I think he said, if you have the choice to take the easy route or the easy path or the hard path, choose the hard path, because if the easy path was the right path, you would have chose it already. And I thought that was really interesting. That really shows up here. That quote, that kind of line, that saying that he said, it really does fit this energy. So just something to be mindful of. So come July, hold on, let me look at my little final thoughts page because I really want to make sure I didn't skip any energy here. So yeah, a lot of what is going to be showing up, and we're feeling the buildup now, coming into July, and then it will be playing out. So it isn't just an energy that's happening on this day. This day is almost an activation of energy. That's really what I see with this chart, is that it's not just a one moment or one day or one kind of week energy we're moving through. It's almost an activation within people, within us, within the collective, of the world, and like kind of activating something within for that personal development journey, really just taking those steps for transformation. There's a lot of energy around personal transformation and who you are on a soul level, and deciding on, really taking those steps to expand and like just heal. So you really want to be paying attention to your intuition at this time. You want to be paying attention to what is showing up for you, what you were thinking, what you were feeling. Most importantly, pay attention to the intuitive messages coming in. Journaling. You really want to be journaling at this time, drinking lots of water and just taking care of your energy and grounding, because you're really going to want to keep your vibration as high as you can and your energy as clean as you can through these times, so that you can get those intuitive downloads, because those intuitive downloads, that's your guidance. That's your guidance through all of these challenging times, or guidance through anything that shows up for you. Not even necessarily has to be challenging, but that's your guidance. So you really want to be taking care of your energy at this time. And then you also want to have the awareness to notice synchronicities coming into your life. You really want to notice when things are showing up for you, when you receive messages, or when you see the 111 on the clock, or 333, or when you end up at the right place at the right time, or you're standing in line and you hear a kid behind you say something and it just clicks. Like those little synchronicities, we really want to start paying attention to, because those are going to be our little subtle hints to moving forward in the direction that's in alignment with you. So I really hope that you found this video helpful, and thank you so much for joining me. And I would love to hear in the comments below. If you have any questions about this energy, please feel free to put comments below, and I will answer any questions that you have. And I will connect with you in the next one.